11 Linga Purana Part 1 Sutta narrates the divine tales of Linga Purana. Once, sage Narada arrived at Naimisharanya, where he found many sages engaged in austerities. All the sages were delighted to see him. They eulogized him in reverence and offered him seat. Sage Narada narrated some amazing tales describing about the greatness of Linga Purana. This made the sages even more curious about Linga Purana. Right then, Sutta also arrived there, and the sages requested him to narrate the tales of Linga Purana. After making salutations to Lord Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh and sage Krishna Dwapayan, Sutta said sound is the medium through which the Almighty Brahma manifests himself. Brahma manifests himself in the sacrosanct Omkar mantra. Rigveda is his mouth, Samaveda his tongue, Yajurveda his neck and Atharvaveda is his heart. He is the Supreme Being and is beyond the reach of creation or deluge. He is one but manifests himself as three distinct deities: Brahma, Vishnu and Rudra. These three deities are the expression of the three natural qualities respectively Rajas, Sattva and Tamas. He manifests himself as Mahesh in his formless, nirguna, identity. He manifests himself in all the living creatures as well as imperceptible things in the form of 7 natural elements Mahatattva, 5 basic elements, Ahankara, ego, Shabda, sound, Sparsh, touch, Roop, appearance, Rasa, taste, and Gandha, smell. Lord Brahma compiled the divine tales of Linga Purana. It covers wide range of subjects like the beginning of creation, the origin of universe, description of the time, tales of different kalpas, the greatness of Linga and its worship, tales related with Lord Shiva, characteristics of Shiva temple etc. It specially elaborates upon the greatness of Shiva Linga and its worship. First Canto Pratham Sarg. Shiva is both invisible as well as the root cause of all the delusions of the world. This is why Shiva is also known as Alinga, unknowable. Ling is nothing but the non-manifested, Ayakta, form of Shiva. This implies that the visible world is the medium through which Shiva manifests himself. Nature, Prakriti, in itself is devoid of qualities like smell, taste, touch etc. But all these qualities become apparent in it only because of Shiva, who is imperishable and whose characteristics are the natural qualities like taste, smell, touch and sound. The whole world along with the gross and subtle has originated from Alinga Shiva. The whole world comes into being with the help of 11 components, 10 sense organs and mind. It is pervaded by the delusions of Alinga Shiva. The 3 prominent deities Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh are the manifestations of Shiva. He is the creator in the form of Brahma, the nurturer in the form of Vishnu and the annihilator in the form of Mahesh. Nature is pervaded by the delusion of Shiva, which is also known as Aja, unborn. The 3 basic colors red, white and black are the symbolic expressions of the 3 qualities Raja, Sat and Tamo respectively. Majorities of people fall prey to the delusions of this world and get entangled in its illusionary appearances, but there are few that understand the futility of this illusionary world. With the desire of beginning creation, the Supreme Almighty manifests himself in the imperceptible, which results into the creation of the Mahatattva, 5 basic elements. From Mahatattva manifests the ego or Ahankara, which comprises of 3 gunas. From ego manifests the tanmantras or subtle forms of matter: sound, form, taste, smell and touch. Among these subtle forms of matter, sound came into being first of all and space originated from it. The second tanmantra, touch, originated from the space. Air manifested from touch or sparsh. The third Tanmantra, form or Rupa, originated from air or Yayu, fire or Agni, manifested from Rupa. The fourth Tanmantra, taste or Rasa, manifested from Agni. Similarly, water or Jal manifested from Rasa, smell or Gandha from Jal, and earth manifested from Gandha respectively. All the five organs of action, Karmendriya, sense organs and mind, originated from pure ego, Sattva Ahankara. In course of time all these elements got transformed into a mammoth egg, Anda, inside which Lord Brahma manifested himself. The whole universe is said to be established inside the above-mentioned egg. The egg is covered by 7 layers and Lord Brahma dwells inside it, seated on a lotus flower. The mammoth egg contains crores of universes inside its fold. The beginning of creation, the whole creation lasts for the total period equivalent to Brahma's day. The Almighty God created during daytime and annihilated during night. One day of Lord Brahma is equivalent to one kalpa of this world. The cycle of 4 yugas occur periodically for 1000 times, during which period altogether 14 Manus take incarnation, one after another. Satya Yuga consists of 4000 years. 15 Nimesha make 1 Kashta, unit of time measurement, 30 colors make a Muhurta, 15 Muhurta a day and night each. The dark lunar phase is said to be the day, while bright lunar phase is said to be the night of the mains. 1 year of this world consists of 360 days. The deity's day lasts for the full period, when the sun is positioned towards the north of equator. Similarly, the deity's night lasts for the total period when the sun is positioned towards the south of equator. 1 year of the deities is equivalent to 30 years of this world. Similarly, 3 months of the deities are equivalent to 100 months of this world. Each of the 4 yugas is measured on the basis of divine years. Satya Yuga is equivalent to 40,000 divine years, while Treta Yuga is equivalent to 80,000 divine years. Dwapar Yuga is equivalent to 20,000 years of the deities, while Kali Yuga is equivalent to 60,000 years of the deities. The period of each yuga given here is exclusive of the periods of Sandhya, evening, and Sandhyansh, part of evening. Lord Brahma commences creation at the fag end of night and all his creations exist for the whole day. When the night descends, everything is annihilated. This is the time when Kalpa ends. The origin of creation. In the initial phase of his creation, Lord Brahma created immovable natural things like trees, mountains, etc., then birds and animals. In the process of creation, he created various things and human being was his 7th creation. First of all, Lord Brahma created his Manasputras Sanak, Sanandan, etc., who had no worldly desires. He then created the 9 supreme sages Marichi, Bhrigu, Angiras, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Daksha, Atri and Vashishta by the help of his yogic powers. After that, it was the turn of the 12 Prajapatis Raghu, Sanat Kumar, Sanatan, etc. All of them were divine, extremely virtuous and had realized the Supreme Self. Brahma. Shatrupa had begotten 4 children from Swayambhuva Manupriyavrata, Uptanpad, Akuti and Prasuti. Akuti was married to a Prajapati named Ruchi, while Prasuti married Daksha. Akuti gave birth to 2 children, Dakshina and Yagya. Dakshina had 12 sons. Prasuti, the youngest daughter of Shatrupa, had begotten 24 daughters from Yakshshraddha, Lakshmi, Dhriti, Tushti, Pushti, Megha, Kriya, Buddhi, Lajja, Vapu, Siddhi, Kirti, Khyati, Sambhuti, Smriti, Preeti, Kshama, Sanneti, Anusuya, Urja, Swaha, Sura Arani and Swadha. 13 of them were married to Dharma, a Prajapati. Kyati was married to sage Bhrigu while Arani married sage Bhargava. Similarly, various sages like Marichi, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Ritu, Atri and Vasishtha got married with Sambhuti, Smriti, Preeti, Kshama, Sanneti, Anusuya and Uja respectively. Swaha was married to Vibhavasu while Swadha married the Pitrishwaras. Dharma had begotten altogether 15 sons from his 13 wives Kam, Darp, Niyam, Santosh, Alaba, Shrut, Dand, Samal, Bodhi, Mahadyuti, Apram, Vinay, Vyavasya, Kshem, Suk and Yash. Kyati, wife of sage Bhrigu, gave birth to Shri, who later became the consort of Lord Vishnu. She also had 2 sons named Dhata and Vidhata. Prabhuti, wife of sage Marichi, gave birth to 2 sons Purnama and Marik. She also had 4 daughters Tushti, Drishti, Krishi and Apache. Kshama, wife of sage Pulaha, had many offspring among whom Kadam and Sahishnu were prominent. Preeti, wife of sage Pulastya, had 2 sons named Daktanavra and Dahavahu. She also had a daughter named Twashtwati. Kratu's wife, Sanneti, had 6,000 offspring who became famous as Balkilyas. Smriti, wife of sage Angiras, had given birth to 5 daughters Sini, Wali, Kuhu, Raka and Anumati. Anusuya, wife of sage Atri, had 6 children, 5 sons and 1 daughter. The names of the sons were Satyanetra, Bhavyamuni, Murtaire, Kshanayishcha and Sometha. Oja, wife of sage Vasishtha, gave birth to 7 sons Jyaji, Pundarikaksh, Raj, Suhotra, Bahu, Nishpap, Shravana, Tapasvi and Shukra. Agni's consort Swaha gave birth to 3 sons Pavaman, Pavak and Shuchi. Lord Shiva, the supreme liberator Sati, daughter of Daksha, had married Lord Shiva much against the wish of her father. Once, Daksha organized a grand yagya in which he did not invite his son-in-law. Sati went to attend the yagya ceremony in spite of Shiva's forbiddance. After seeing her, Daksha calumniated Lord Shiva and made fun of him. This infuriated her to such an extent that she gave up her life by jumping into the sacrificial fire. She was born as Parvati in her next birth and once again got Shiva as her husband. Once, Lord Brahma requested Shiva to create a world which was free from death. Lord Shiva refused, apprehending its disastrous consequences. Lord Brahma was left with no other option than to commence creation on his own. Meanwhile, Shiva became immovable just like the trunk of a tree, Sthanu. Lord Shiva, who is capable of attaining any form. He showers benediction on mankind. He is engrossed in the supreme state of yoga with effortless case. Nobody can attain liberation without his grace. He is the bestower of religiousness, dharma, knowledge, jnana, asceticism, vairagya, and splendor, aishwarya. Sinners who do not take refuge in Shiva have to experience the unbearable tortures of countless hells. Incarnations of Manu and Vyasa. On being asked about the incarnation of sage Vyasa during various eras and manvantars, Sutha replied, "O Brahman, now I am going to mention the names of all the incarnations of Vyasa who existed during Vavaswat Manvantar of Vara Kalpa. The names are as follows: Ritu, Satya, Bhargava, Angira, Savita, Mrityu, Shatakratu, Vasishtha, Saraswat, Trigatma, Trivrit, Swayam, Dharma, Narayan, Tarakshu, Aruni, Kritanjal, Trina, Bindu, Ruksha, Muni, Shakti, Parasha, Jatukarnya and Sri Krishna Dwapayan." The names of Manus belonging to different Manvantas of Vara Kalpa are Swayambhu, Swarochis, Uktam, Tamas, Ravat, Chakahas, Vavaswat, Savarni, Dharmaswarni, Vishan, Avishan, Shabal and Varnak. All of these Manus were named according to their appearances and complexions. For example, Vavaswat Manu was of dark complexion. The essence of yoga. Yoga means union with God. The state of yoga is impossible to attain without the blessings of Lord Shiva. It needs a concentrated and focused mind. There are some specific spots in the human body concentrating upon which enables a man to attain the state of yoga. Spot between the eyebrows, lower part of the throat, navel and 6 inches above it, etc. The state of yoga can never be attained until and unless a person has fully controlled the tendencies of sense organs. It can be achieved with the help of 8 means: yam, penance, niyam, discipline, asana, posture, pranayam, breath control, pratyahar, restraint of passion, dharan, retention, dhyan, concentration, and samadhi, deep meditation. Each of them holds an important position in the path of yoga. Describing about the methods of performing yoga, Sutta says a person should sit with his legs crossed in Padmasana and try to concentrate his mind by fixing his gaze between his eyebrows. He should keep his spine erect. He should meditate either on the form of Omkar or on the form of Lord Shiva. Breath control is an important aspect of yogic exercise. A man should exhale deeply for 32 times and then breathe in deeply. He should then retain his breath as long as possible and visualize Lord Shiva within his body. By constant practice he will achieve mastery over this art, and a time will come when he will experience divine bliss. This divine bliss cannot be experienced unless one has attained a deep state of meditation, samadhi. Obstacles in the path of yoga. A man experiences numerous obstacles in the path of yoga: laziness, restlessness, confusion, a diseased body, etc. The main reason for being lazy is a bulky physique and one's inability to concentrate his mind. Lack of concentration results in restlessness, which is a major obstacle in the path of yoga. If a person is unsure about the results, he becomes confused. It is impossible for a person suffering from any disease to concentrate his mind. All the above mentioned hurdles can be overcome by firm resolution. A man who has successfully overcome all these obstacles might experience other obstacles in the form of siddhis, divine powers. There is a real danger of getting lured by these divine powers. As a result, his mind may get distracted from his original goal and he may deviate from his path. The names of these siddhis or divine powers are Pratibha, having knowledge of past, present and future incident; Shravana, being capable of listening to abnormal sounds; Varta, whatever is said becomes true; Darshana, capable of seeing things which cannot be seen by the mortal eyes; Ashvada, being capable of experiencing divine tastes; Vedana, being capable of relieving others' pain by a mere touch. If a person successfully overcomes all these allurements, then he becomes a siddha or man of accomplishment and divine powers. Realization of Shiva. Lord Shiva showers his blessing on one and all without any discrimination, but virtuous people have special privilege in the sense that it is easier for them to realize Lord Shiva. Once, Parvati asked Lord Shiva as to how a devotee could realize him. Lord Shiva recalled an incident when Lord Brahma had asked the same question. Lord Shiva had told Lord Brahma, "Anybody can realize me by having deep devotion towards me. A devotee can meditate upon me in the form of Linga with total devotion. It is only by deep devotion that a man can achieve true knowledge as well as salvation." Venerableness of Satyajit, the sages asked Sutha as to how was Lord Brahma able to have a divine glimpse of Satyajit. Sutha replied, during the kalpa named Shvetalohit, once Lord Brahma witnessed the manifestation of a divine child who was of mixed, red and white, complexion. The child had a shikha, top knot, on his head. Considering him to be an embodiment of Almighty God, Lord Brahma eulogized that child. Suddenly 4 children appeared and formed a protective ring around Satyajit. The names of these children were Sunang, Nandan, Vishwanang, and Upanang. All of them were of fair complexion and very handsome. Anybody who is desirous of attaining to Rudraloka must take refuge in Satyajit. Lord Vamdev once, during 30th Kalpa named Rakta, Lord Brahma was meditating on Paramayashti Shiva. Suddenly a divine child appeared before him who was of red complexion and who had put on red apparels. He was none other than Lord Vamdev. Lord Brahma immediately realized the divinity of that child and was convinced that he was the embodiment of Almighty God. Lord Brahma eulogized Vamdev, who was pleased by his devotions. 4 divine entities Viraja, Vibhav, Vishoka and Vishwabhana manifested from the body of Vamdev. All of them had great resemblance to Lord Vamdev. Vamdev preached them on the finer points of religiousness so that mankind could be benefited by this knowledge. Lord Tat Purusha, the 31st Kalpa, was known as Peet Kalpa. The term, Peet, means yellow, and this Kalpa was named Peet because Lord Brahma had put on yellow apparels during this Kalpa. Once, while he was meditating on the form of Lord Shiva, a divine child manifested before him. The child had a halo of light all around him and had put on yellow-colored clothes. Even his turban, sacred thread and garland were yellow in color. His arms were abnormally long. Lord Brahma immediately realized that the child was none other than Lord Maheshwar himself. Suddenly a divine cow appeared from the mouth of Maheshwar, who had 4 faces and possessed all the 32 qualities. The divine cow was none other than Goddess Gayatri herself. Lord Brahma eulogized her, and Maheshwar was very pleased by his deep devotion. Maheshwar also blessed him with divine knowledge and unrevealed the secret of yoga to him. Right then, many divine children appeared from the body of Lord Maheshwar. Each of them had put on yellow apparels and had great resemblance to Lord Maheshwar. They were extremely virtuous and served the mankind by giving sermons. After having completed their mission of spreading the message of virtuosity to the mankind, all of them got united with Lord Maheshwar ultimately. A person who is desirous of getting liberated from all his sin must seek the blessings of Lord Maheshwar, who is also known as Tat Purusha. Lord Agoresh Peet Kalpa was followed by Pradhrita Kalpa. Black was the predominant color of this Kalpa. Initially, the whole earth was submerged in the water, and Lord Brahma, desirous of commencing his creations, wished for a son. As a result, a divine child manifested whose complexion was dark. Not only that, he had put on black apparels and a black crown on his head. A black sacred thread was hanging across his shoulder. Lord Brahma immediately recognized Agoresh and eulogized him. Lord Agoresh became pleased by his devotion and blessed him. Just like the preceding Kalpas, 4 divine children manifested from Lord Agoresh's body. All of them had great resemblance with Agoresh in every respect. In course of time, they did tremendous penance and preached the virtue of religiousness to the mankind. A person who worships Lord Agoresh and has deep devotion in him becomes liberated from gravest of sins like Brahmatya, sin acquired due to killing a Brahman, etc. Lord Ishan, in the beginning of Vishwarupa Kalpa, Lord Brahma, desirous of commencing creation, was engrossed in deep meditation. This resulted into the manifestation of a divine cow, which puzzled Lord Brahma very much. Actually, this divine cow was none other than Vishwarupa Saraswati, but Lord Brahma failed to recognize her. Lord Brahma decided to take the help of Lord Ishan and started meditating on him. When Lord Ishan appeared before him, he was requested by Lord Brahma to shed light on the identity of that divine cow. Lord Ishan replied by saying, "The present Kalpa is called Vishwarupa Kalpa. It has originated from the left side of my body and is the 33rd Kalpa. This divine cow has also originated from me. She is Goddess Gauri, the source of all creation." After saying like this, Lord Ishan created 4 divine entities from the body of the cow Jati, Mundi, Shikhandi and Ardhamung. All of them were very luminous and virtuous. After preaching the world for thousands of divine years, they got reunited with Lord Rudra. The origin of Shiva Linga. The sages asked Sutha, Lord Shiva is formless, then how come Shiva Linga is worshipped? What is the significance of Shiva Linga? What is the proper method of worshipping a Shiva Linga? Sutha replied, once, Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu developed serious difference on the matter of superiority. A tremendous duel broke out between them. As they were fighting, a mammoth ling appeared on the sands, the effulgence of which made efforts both of them amazed. Both of them decided to find out the origin of that divine ling. Lord Brahma transformed his appearance into that of a swan and flew up in the sky to determine the height of that ling. Lord Vishnu transformed himself into a roar and entered the depth of earth to find the source of that Shiva Linga. But both of them failed in their objectives and returned to the same place exhausted. Suddenly, they heard a loud sound of Aum emanating from the Shiva Linga. Very soon, the whole form of consisting of all the 3 letters A, U and M became visible. The letters A, U and M symbolize Lord Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh respectively. At last, both of them realized their mistake and stopped quarreling. This way, Lord Shiva was successful in subduing their arrogance. Lord Rudra is beyond sensual perception. He is the Supreme Almighty and the bestower of divine bliss. The mystical form of Shiva Linga is a symbolical expression of sacred mantra Aum. The letter A symbolizes bija, seed, M the Creator himself, and U is the symbolical expression of yoni, vagina. Lord Rudra is beyond sensual perception. He is the Supreme Almighty and the bestower of divine bliss. The mystical form of Shiva Linga is a symbolical expression of sacred mantra Aum. The letter A symbolizes bija, seed, M the Creator himself, and U is the symbolical expression of yoni, vagina. Part 2. Lord Shiva Blases Brahma and Vishnu. At the time when this incident of mystical Shiva Linga had occurred and after which Lord Brahma and Vishnu had stopped quarreling, Lord Shiva appeared before them and said, I am very pleased with both of you, O Vishnu. You are the creator, Lord Shiva. This made Lord Shiva extremely pleased, and he the preserver as well as the destroyer of this world. I am the supreme you, though having distinct identities, have actually manifested from my body, Brahma from my left side and Vishnu from my right, almighty and distinct from all 3 of you, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Lord Vishnu expressed his undiluted devotion towards Lord Shiva. This made Lord Shiva extremely pleased, and he said, O Vishnu, you are the creator, the preserver as well as the destroyer of this world. I am the Supreme Almighty and distinct from all 3 of you, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Ling is the personification of the Almighty God. The term ling means fusion, and the Shiva Linga are said to be the symbolical expression of all the deities. The manifestation of Lord Brahma. The sages requested Sutha to elucidate how Lord Brahma emerged from the navel of Vishnu seated on a lotus flower. Sutha replied, at the time of deluge Lord Vishnu went in his Yoganidra lying on the back of Sheshnag. As the result of his divine play, a huge lotus flower along with a long tubular stalk emerged from his navel. Lord Brahma was seated on the lotus flower. When Lord Brahma saw Lord Vishnu, he asked, "Who are you sleeping in this ocean?" Lord Vishnu also asked the same question, as to whom was he and from where had he manifested. Very soon, a quarrel ensues between them. Desirous of knowing the identity of the stranger, Lord Vishnu entered Brahma's abdomen through his mouth. He was amazed to find the existence of whole universe inside Brahma's abdomen. He remained there for thousands of years but could not find the end. Being exhausted, he came out and told Lord Brahma that even his abdomen had the same unlimited expanse. Lord Brahma decided to check the authenticity of Vishnu's statement and entered into his abdomen through the mouth. Lord Brahma wandered inside the abdomen for thousands of years but could not find the end. Meanwhile, Lord Vishnu has shut each and every opening of his body, which made it impossible for Lord Brahma to come out. Ultimately, he was successful in coming out through the tubular stalk of the lotus. As Lord Brahma was not amused by Vishnu's behavior, he started fighting with him. Right at that moment, Lord Mahadev arrived there. His movements created high tide and strong mind, which vigorously shook the lotus flower. Lord Vishnu immediately realized that these signs forebode the arrival of Mahadev. He revealed this fact to Brahma and about Manadev's greatness. But Lord Brahma was not impressed. Lord Vishnu then said, Shiva is the Almighty God. He is the one whom enlightened people are always in search for. He manifests himself in the form of an egg on account of the union of his formless and with form appearances. In course of time the egg gets divided into two halves, from which are created the different lokas, world. The egg is the very place from where originates the whole creation. Even you, Brahma, own your existence to that egg. Your arrogance might invite the wrath of Shiva. So, come, let both of us eulogize and praise the holy name of Mahadev. Lord Brahma becomes the creator at last. Lord Vishnu was successful in convincing Brahma of Shiva's supreme status. Both of them eulogized and sang hymns in the praise of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva became very pleased by their devotion. He requested Lord Vishnu wanted nothing else but undiluted devotion in him. Lord Shiva agreed and said, "So be it." Lord Shiva then blessed Brahma and made him the creator. Lord Brahma did a tremendous penance, which continued for a very long period. The severe penance strained his eyes, as a result of which tears started rolling down his cheeks. Poisonous snakes manifested from those teardrops. Lord Brahma became disillusioned by his maiden creation and gave up his life. 11 Rudras emerged from his body and started wailing. They then brought Lord Brahma back to life. After becoming alive, Lord Brahma eulogized Vishweshwar and goddess Gayatri. He was amazed to see the existence of whole universe inside the body of Lord Vishweshwar. All the kalpas, including the different incarnations of Lord Shiva, about origin of these kalpas and various incarnations like Sedya, etc. Description of different kalpas. Lord Shiva revealed to Brahma that the Shvetkalpa derived its name from his complexion. I took incarnation attired in white apparels. My complexion was fair. You, being self-begotten, were able to recognize me. Goddess Gayatri had also manifested from my body and later on became famous as Shvet Lohit Brahm. The next Kalpa was known as Lohit Kalpa because of my red complexion. Goddess Gayatri had also incarnated in the form of divine cow. I became famous as Vamdev during this Kalpa. Lord Shiva then went on to describe about the rest of the Kalpas which had been named after his complexion. He also gave in-depth description of various subjects like the different worlds, the Vedas, the 4 major castes, etc. Incarnations of Shiva during various Dwapar Yugas. On being inquired by Lord Brahma about his various incarnations, Lord Shiva said, I shall incarnate as Shvet Muni during first Dwapar Yuga of Vavaswat Manvanta. My abode shell is at Chogal peak of Himalaya mountain. I shall have 4 disciples who will be proficient in the Vedas. I will incarnate as Suta during second Dwapar. At that time, Satyajit Prajapati will be holding he post of Vyasa. I will have 4 sons Dandugi, Shatrupa, Richika and Keluma. During third Dwapar and at the time when sage Bhargav will be acting as a Vyasa, I will take incarnation as Daman. I will have 4 sons Vikrosh, Vikesh, Vipush and Papnashak. During fourth Dwapar and at the time when sage Angira will be acting as a Vyasa, I will take incarnation as Suhotra. I will have 4 sons Sumukh, Domukh, Dordhar and Duratikram. I will take incarnation as Kank during 5th Dwapar and at the time when sage Savita will be fulfilling the obligations of Vyasa, I will have 4 sons Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan and Sanat Kumar. During 6th Dwapar, I will take incarnation as Lagakshi. At that time sage Mrityu will be holding the post of Vyasa. My sons will be Sudma, Viraja, Shank and Padraj. Sage Kshatritu will act as Vyasa during 7th Dwapar. I will have 4 sons Saraswat, Med, Megvah and Suvahan. Sage Vashishtha will be the Vyasa during 8th Dwapar. I will take incarnation as Dadhivahan. My sons will be Kapila, Asuri, Pach, Shikomuni and Vashkal. Sage Saraswat will act as Vyasa during 9th Dwapar. I will take incarnation as Rishabh. I will have 4 sons Parasha, Garg, Bhargav and Angiras. The 10th Dwapar will see Tripad fulfilling the duties of Vyasa. I will incarnate as Bhavita Muni. I will have 4 sons Bala, Bandhu, Niramitra and Ketu. Sage Trivat will be the Vyasa during 11th Dwapar. I will take incarnation as Ugra. My sons will be Lambodha, Lambaksha and Lambaksh. Sage Shataja will perform the duties of Vyasa during 12th Dwapar. I will have 4 sons Sarvagya, Sambuddhi, Sadhya and Serv. Dharm will be the Vyasa during 13th Dwapar. I will take incarnation as Bali and live at the hermitage of the Balkilya. I will have 4 sons Sudma, Kashyapa, Vashishtha and Viraja. This way, Lord Shiva elaborated upon his various incarnations till the period of 20th Dwapar, which went as follows. Dwapar Vyasa Shiva. Shiva's sons 14th Tarakshu Gautam Atri, Devarudra, Shravana and Shri Vishthak 15th Tyarayaruni Vekshirakuni, Kunibhu, Kusharir and Kunetrak 16th Devagokan Kashyao, Shukracharya, Chyavn and Brihaspati 17th Kritanjay Guhavasi Utatya, Vamdev, Mahayoga and Mahabal 18th Ritanjay Shikni Vachashrava Richakshya Vaswa and Yatishwar 19th Bharadvaj Jatmali Hiranyab, Koishal, Loangaksi and Kutunmi 20th Gautam Athas Sumantu, Wavari, Kavan and Kushi Kandar 21st Vachashrava Daruko Ramapksoda, Balni, Ketuman and Gautam. 22nd Shushmayan Landli Bhim Dhamik, Mahayotri, Vallavi, Madhupinga Shwetu, Ketu and Kush 23rd Trinabindu Kalanjar Ushik, Vrihadashva, Deval and Kaviraj 24th Raiksha Shuli Salihotra, Agni Vesh, Anaswa and Sharad Vasu. 25th Shaktidandi Mundishwar Chagal, Kundak, Kumban and Pravahas 26th Parashar Sahishnu Uluk, Vidyut, Shambak and Ashwalyan. 27th Jatuk Karnya Son Sharma Akshapa, Kumar, Uluk and Vatsa. 28th Dvapayan Lakule Kushik, Gurg, Mitra and Korushya rituals of Shivaling worship, purity. Once, Goddess Parvati asked Lord Shiva about the proper methods of worshipping Shiva Linga. While Shiva was elucidating upon the rituals, Nandi, who was present there too, got enlightened on this sacred topic. In course of time, this knowledge was passed on to Sanat Kumar, who in turn revealed it to sage Vyasa. Sutha came to know about it from Shalari. Lord Shiva had described the following three methods, by the help of which a devotee should become pure before commencing his worship. 1. Varuna Snan, taking bath in open. 2. Bhasma Snan, smearing ashes. 3. Mantra Snan, chanting of mantra. Lord Shiva had stressed upon the importance of taking bath in a river or a pond. According to him, a man's mind, which is like a lotus, could never blossom unless it received the radiance of the sun. Describing about the methods of taking bhasmasnan, he said, after washing his hands and feet, a devotee should smear any of the following things on his body to make it pure: mud, cow dung, ashes, etc. While smearing mud on his body, he should chant the mantra, Urdhata Shiva Heen. After becoming pure according to the methods mentioned above, he should then worship Lord Varuna. Having done this, he should take a dip in the river after purifying the water by chanting the sacred Admarshan mantra. He should then worship all the deities by sprinkling water from the shaln, conch, and amidst the chanting of mantras like Rudran Pavamnain, etc. He should then concentrate upon the form of a Shiva Linga. He should drink some water holding some kush grass in his right hand simultaneously. A devotee should commence his worship only after becoming pure. In the beginning he should perform pranayam for 3 times so that his lungs are filled up with fresh air. After this, he should concentrate his mind on the form of Lord Trayambak in all his glory. He should purify all the articles required for the worship by performing ablution and by chanting Om Namah Shivaya. He should also make offerings of flowers, rice grains, barley, etc. to the deity. Worship of Lord Shiva is believed to be incomplete without the worship of his family Nandi, Kartikeya, Vinayak and Goddess Parvati. So, the devotee must not forget to worship them. Lord Shiva tests the patience of sages. Once upon a time, the sages were busy doing their penance to please Lord Mahadev. Lord Shiva decided to test patience and visited Daruk forest in naked position. By the virtue of his divine power, he was successful in corrupting the conduct of the sages' wives. Those women became so infatuated by his divine appearance that they lost control over themselves. They were desirous of satiating their lust, but Shiva maintained silence and did not oblige them. When the sages saw the women folk in such a pitiable condition, they started abusing Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva did not respond and disappeared from the scene. Now, the sages became very frightened. All of them went to Lord Brahma and narrated the whole incident. Lord Brahma reprimanded them by saying that how unfortunate they had been in not recognizing Lord Shiva the Almighty. Lord Brahma said, "You have committed a grave sin by showing disrespect to your guest. Your conduct was unlike Sudarshan, a Brahman who by his hospitality was able to win the Lord of Death." Lord Brahma narrated the following tale to them. Once there lived a kind-hearted Brahmin named Sudarshan. He was very hospitable and considered his guests as Lord Shiva himself. He had given strict instructions to his wife that under no circumstance should a guest return unsatisfied from his home. Yamaraja wanted to test Sudarshan's firmness in his belief. One day he arrived at Sudarshan's hermitage disguised as a Brahman. At that time he was not present in his hermitage. Yamaraja refused to accept anything in donation except Sudarshan's wife herself. Sudarshan's wife offered herself without any hesitation. When he returned, not finding her wife started calling her name. At that time he heard a voice saying that his wife was satisfying the lust of a guest. Sudarshan remained unperturbed and requested his guest to carry on till he is satisfied. Yamaraja became pleased. He appeared before Sudarshan and gave blessings. He appreciated his hospitable nature by saying that by the virtue of his undiluted hospitality he had even vanquished him. Yamaraja. The sages were very ashamed of their conduct and returned Lord Brahma to explain as to how they could have devotion in Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma elucidated on the virtue of devotion and narrated the tale of sage Shweta who had subjugated even death by his devotion. Sage Shweta. The sages were very curious to know about sage Shweta. Lord Brahma narrated the following tale. Once, there lived a sage named Shweta. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He lived in a cave and engaged himself in severe penance, continuously chanting the holy name of Shiva. When the time of his death approached, Kal arrived there to take his life. Sage Shweta started eulogizing Lord Shiva. He challenged Kal that being a devotee of Shiva he was beyond the reach of death. But Kal made fun of him and told him that nobody could escape death. Sage Shweta had unshakable faith in Lord Shiva. Pointing towards the Shiva Linga, he told Kal that he would remain unharmed because of Lord Shiva who was present in that Shiva Linga. Suddenly, Kal tied him with his noose and said, "See, now you are absolutely under my control and even your deity seems to be helpless." To protect his devotee, Lord Shiva arrived on the scene accomplished by goddess Amba, Ganpati and Nandi. Kal got scared to such an extent that he fainted and died. The sages curiously asked Lord Brahma about the means with which Shiva could be pleased. Lord Brahma told them that only deep devotion and nothing else could please Lord Shiva. Sages eulogize Lord Shiva having realized their mistake. The sages returned to Daruk forest and engaged themselves in austere penance to please Shiva. They did a tremendous penance, which lasted for a year. Ultimately their wishes were fulfilled as Lord Shiva appeared with ashes smeared all over his body. He had a begging bowl in his hands and exhibited strange mannerism. But this time the sages did not fail in recognizing him. They begged for his forgiveness and sought his blessings. Lord Shiva became pleased and blessed them divine sight, which made them enabled to see his form of Trayambak. The illumined appearance of Lord Trayambak cast a spellbound over them. They eulogized Lord Shiva by singing praise in his name. This way, their deep devotion in Lord Shiva had exploited them from their sin. Lord Shiva preaches the sages. Lord Shiva revealed to the sages that a female sex organ was nothing but a symbolic expression of goddess Parvati, whereas a male sex organ symbolized his own self. He also cautioned them against making fun of hermits' appearance. He said, "These hermits who appear absorbed by their looks are my great devotees. They don't care about their physical appearance because I predominantly occupy their thoughts. Anybody making fun of these naked hermits whose bodies are smeared with ashes is in fact making fun of me." Lord Shiva then went on to describe the purity of ash and said ash is extremely pure, as it is the residual element of matter, which is left after burning. It is sacred and indestructible. This is why I smear it on my body. A person who smears ash on his body becomes liberated from all his sins. It is the destroyer of sin. It is the symbolic expression of my Virya, Semen. This way Lord Shiva enlightened them on various spiritual topics. The Dadiches subjugates Kshupa. They ruled a king named Kshupa whose friend was sage Dadiche. Once they got into argument over the superiority of their respective castes. King Kshupa was of the opinion that a Kshatriya was superior to Brahman. Very soon, the dispute took an ugly turn and a duel broke out between them. Dadich punched Kshupa on his head. Kshupa retaliated by attacking Dadiche with his weapon named Vajra. The assault proved to be fatal for Dadiche and he fell down. Before his death he prayed to his Guru Shukracharya and sought his help. Realizing that his disciple was in danger, Shukracharya rushed to the spot, but Dadiche had already died before he could arrive there. Shukracharya knew the secret learning, Mrita Sanjeevani Vidya. He brought back Dadiche alive and advised him to please Lord Shiva to attain invincibility. He also taught Dadiche the proper methods of worshipping Shiva. Dadiche did an austere penance and pleased Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva appeared and blessed him with invincibility and also made his bones as hard as Indra's thunderbolt, Vajra. Dadiche then went to fight Kshupa. He kicked Kshupa on his chest. Kshupa retaliated by attacking Dadiche with his Vajra. But this time Dadiche remained unharmed. Kshupa was surprised to see his assault going in vain. He decided to take the help of Lord Vishnu and engaged himself in austere penance. Kshupa accepts defeat. When Lord Vishnu appeared before Kshupa, he sought his help in defeating Dadiche. Lord Vishnu expressed his inability by saying, I don't punish a Brahman, especially if he is a devotee of Rudra. Dadiche is both, so forget about defeating him. Anyhow, I will try my best to make Dadiche devoid of his power. Lord Vishnu then went to Dadiche's hermitage disguised as a Brahman. Dadiche recognized him and came to know about his intentions. He requested Lord Vishnu to go ahead with his demand. I have conquered fear on account of my total devotion in Lord Shiva, said Dadiche. Lord Vishnu did not like his arrogant behavior. He said, I know you have conquered fear. But, just for once, say that you are fearful of me, as I am Vishnu. But, Dadiche refused to obey his commands. This infuriated Lord Vishnu and he tried to kill Dadiche with his chakra. Dadiche remained unharmed and said, how can this chakra harm me? Lord Shiva has given whose devotee I am it to you whose devotee I am. Lord Vishnu tried to use his other weapons but failed to cause any harm to Dadiche. All the deities came to his help but still their efforts of defeating Dadiche went futile. Lord Vishnu then tried to impress Dadiche by his divine powers and showed his divine appearance in which the whole world was visible. Dadiche gave a befitting reply by showing the whole universe including Lord Vishnu within his body. Lord Vishnu was amazed by his divine powers. Ultimately, Lord Brahma persuaded Lord Vishnu to discontinue the fight. Seeing his lord in such a helpless condition, Kshupa had no other option but to accept defeat. He tried to pacify Dadiche's anger by asking cursed him as well as all the deities by saying all of you including the deities and Vishnu will be destroyed in Daksha's yagya as the consequence of Rudra's wrath. The place where Dadiche's hermitage was situated later on became famously known as Sthaneshwar. It is considered to be the most sacred place of pilgrimage. Shila's impossible demand. Once, Shila did an austere penance to please Indra. He was desirous of begetting a son. When Indra appeared, he requested him to bless him with a son who was self-born as well as deathless. Indra expressed his helplessness in fulfilling impossible demand. Even Lord Brahma meets his end after the passage of crores of kalpas, said Indra. Shila tried to convince the validity of his demand by citing the example of Daksha's son who, according to his best of knowledge, were self-born as well as deathless. Indra told him that it was not true. To prove his point, Indra said, even Vishnu and Brahma are not self-born. Lord Vishnu created Brahma during Megvahan Kalpa. Some are of the view that Vishnu and Brahma manifested from the left and right sides of Shiva respectively. So, your demand is unsubstantial and without any base. According to a mythological tale, Lord Vishnu manifested from in between the eyebrow of Lord Brahma. At that time Lord Shiva had arrived there to bless both of them. After the departure of Lord Shiva, Vishnu took the incarnation of Vara, boar, and re-established the earth in its original position. Lord Brahma then commenced his creation, and in course of time the earth came to be inhabited by all kind of living creatures. Part 3. The characteristics of 4 eras. Shila requested Indra to shed light on the special characteristics of each of the 4 eras. Indra replied, Lord Brahma created the 4 eras, Yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali. These eras keep on occurring in a cyclic order where the former is followed by the latter. Sattva Guna, pure, prevails during Satya Yuga. Rajas Guna is the dominant quality prevailing during Treta Yuga. During Dwapar Yuga both Rajas Guna and Tamas Guna are present. Tamas Guna, dark, is the dominant quality prevailing during Kali Yuga. During Satya Yuga, meditation was the means by the help of which a man could achieve salvation, while oblation, devotion and donation were said to be the means capable of giving salvation during Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga and Kali Yuga respectively. The inhabitants of Satya Yuga were virtuous and free from sorrow. But the vice of desire started to raise its head during Treta Yuga and people started being troubled by it. Lord Brahma created the warrior caste Kshatriya for the protection of virtuosity. Brahma propagated the rituals of oblation during Treta Yuga. Everything was fine till Treta Yuga, but there was a drastic change in the human behavior during Dwapar Yuga. All the vices surfaced and people were troubled by them. Some extraordinary literary feats were accomplished during Dwapar. Sage Vyasa categorized the Veda into 4 sections. All the major Puranas were compiled and Smritis were written. Kali Yuga saw the decline of virtuosity and religiousness. Ignorance and false knowledge prevailed everywhere during this era. Kali Yuga. Describing about the decline in moral values during Kali Yuga, Indra told Shila, in Kali Yuga, people will be under the total influence of the worldly illusions. Ignorance, diseases, fear and hunger will be prevalent everywhere. Famine and drought would occur quite frequently as the fallout of inadequate rain. Sinners would outnumber the virtuous, people would deviate from the path of religiousness. Brahmins would lose their superiority and Shudras would become the rulers. Brahmins will not be respected and will be forced to serve the lowly people. Majority of women would be immoral and progenies would not obey the commands of their parents. Predicting a grim scenario, Indra stressed great importance of religiousness during Kali Yuga and said a virtuous deed accomplished in Kali Yuga gives fruits in a day as compared to Treta and Dwapar Yugas, which take 1 year and 1 month respectively. Manifestation of Brahma. Once, Lord Brahma did an austere penance to please Lord Shiva. Shiva manifested as Ardhanarishwar, partly male partly female, from his forehead and said, I am your son. But the unbearable heat emanating from the effulgence of Ardhanarishwar burnt the whole world including Lord Brahma. Lord Shiva then separated the feminine part of his body, Goddess Parmeshwari, and instructed her to begin creation. Both Brahma and Vishnu manifested from the body of Goddess Parmeshwari. Lord Vishnu divided his body into two halves and created the world. Lord Brahma once again did a tremendous penance which lasted for 10,000 years. Once again Shiva manifested from his forehead, but this time as Nila Lohit. Lord Nila Lohit became pleased by Brahma's eulogy and blessed him. Manifestation of Nandishwar Shila did a tremendous penance to please Lord Shiva. His penance continued for thousands of years. At last, Lord Shiva appeared before him and said, I am extremely pleased by your devotion. I shall bless you with a son who will become famous for his knowledge and learning. But Shila was desirous of a self-born and immortal son. Lord Shiva said, your desire will be fulfilled. Even Lord Brahma had requested me to take an incarnation. I will take birth as your son and my name will be Nandi. In course of time, Shiva manifested from the oblation site. The deities became pleased after seeing Nandi, who possessed 3 eyes, 4 arms and a crown on his head. The Netherworld Lord Shiva is the source from where all the different worlds originate. People in their ignorance are unaware of the fact that the whole universe is nothing but a medium through which Shiva manifests himself. The various worlds like Maha, Jana, Tafa, Satya etc. and all the natural elements like earth, sky, ocean etc. owe their origin to Shiva. Underneath the earth lies the Netherworlds, which are all together 7 in number: Thala, Vitla, Sutala etc. The Netherworld named Mahatala is the dwelling place of Lord Makand and King Bali. Sutala is yellow in color while Vitlo shines brightly like a coral. Atala is of white color and Thala has a shade of white. All these Netherworld have the same expanse as the earth. Rasatal is the place where Vasuki resides. Taltal is the dwelling place of mighty demons like Virochan and Hiranyaksha. It is also the place where hell is situated. The Netherworld named Sutal is the dwelling place where Turka, Agnimukh and Prahlad live. Thala is the dwelling place of mighty warriors like Mahakung, Hayagriva etc. The 7 islands. The earth consists of 7 islands, many rivers, mountains and 7 oceans. The Plaksha, Shalmali, Kush, Kronch, Shak and Pushkar. Lord Shiva along with Goddess Ambika and his Ganas dwell in all these 7 islands in one form or the other. The name of the 7 oceans are Ksharog, Rasod, Surod, Gatolakshai, Dadhyanav, Kshirod and Swadud. Lord Shiva manifests himself in all of them. Lord Shiva dwells in the ocean named Kshiranav. King Priyavrata was the grandson of Manu, who ruled during Swayambhuva Manvanta. He had 10 sons: Agnigra, Agnibahu, Megatithi, Vasu, Vayushman, Jyotishman, Dyutiman, Havya, Savan etc. Priyavrata had made Agnigra the king of Jambudvipa. Similarly, the islands of Plakshadvipa, Shalmali, Kushadvipa, Kronchadvipa, Shalvadvipa and Pushkar were given to Meltithi, Vayushman, Jyotishman, Dyutiman, Havya and Savan respectively. Havya had 7 sons who became rulers, and the different territories they ruled desired their names from them. Bharathavarj Agnigra, the ruler of Jambudvipa, was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. He had 9 sons: Navi, Kimpurusha, Harivasha, Ilavrata, Ramaya, Hiranyaman, Kuru, Bhadrashva and Ketumal. Agnigra appointed Navi the king of Hemkya. Similarly, Kimpurusha, Harivarsha, Ilavrata, Ramaya, Hiranyaman, Kuru, Bhadrashva and Ketumal were given the kingdoms of Hemkut, Nashad, Meru, Nilekal, Shwet, Shringavrash, Malvan and Gandhamudan respectively. After this, Agnigra renounced everything and went to do penance. Meru Devi was Nagri's wife and the mother of Rishabh. After growing up, Rishabh got married and became the father of no less than 100 sons. Among them Bharata was the eldest. When Bharata grew up, Rishabh appointed him as his successor and after renouncing everything went to the forest. Bharata went on to become a great king and ruled over the whole territory southwards of Himalaya. Our country derives its name from him. Bharata had a son named Sunti who succeeded his father as a king. The Meru Mountain is situated in the heart of Jambudvipa. The Meru range is spread in the area of 16,000 yojan. Its towering peak is 84,000 in height from the ground level and had even penetrated the depth of earth to the measurement of 16,000 yojan. Meru Mountain is considered to be very sacred and is believed to be the dwelling place of the deities. Yamaraja's abode Vaivasvatipuri is situated in the southern part of Meru Mountain. Some other holy places like Shuddhavati, Gandhavati and Yashomati are also situated on this mountain where Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva are believed to have their respective abodes. The sun continuously shines over Meru Mountain. A river named Jambu flows down this mountain. There is also a tree by the same name which is eternally laden with fruits. The Meru Mountain is surrounded on all its sides by a country Ilavrita. The residents of Ilavrita relish the fruits of Jambu tree. The prominent mountains describing about the physical characteristics of all J7 islands, Sutha says, 7 mountains are situated in Plaksha Dvipa Govilak, Chandra, Narda, Dandugi, Soyak, Sumna and Vagraj. Similarly, the prominent mountain ranges situated in Shalmali Dvipa are Kumud, Uktam, Balahak, Drona, Kirkamahesh Kumadman etc. Kushadvipa also has 7 mountains among which Vigrab and Haim are the prominent ones. All these 7 islands are surrounded by 7 oceans. The mountain named Lokalok is so gigantic in size that half of its part is always covered in darkness. The omnipresent Lord Shiva pervades the whole universe. Once, being confronted by the effulgence of Lord Shiva, who had disguised himself as a Yaksh, all the deities became devoid of their power. Indra was amazed and asked the Yaksh as to who he was. Lord Shiva disappeared without giving any answer and goddess Ambika appeared before the deities. Indra asked her the same question, to which goddess Ambika replied he was none other than the Almighty Shiva. I being the Prakriti, nature, do creation following his instructions. He is the embodiment of Purusha, Supreme Almighty. The sun. The movement of sun is rapid when it is positioned south of equator, Dakshinayan. On the other hand, its movement is slow when positioned north of equator, Uttarayan. The time is indicated by the various positions of sun while it is on its course of movement in the horizon. While the sun is situated in the southeast direction, it is believed to be the morning time. Similarly, when the sun has positioned itself in the southwest, northwest or southeast direction, it is said to be the before noon, afternoon, and night respectively. The sun is believed to be mounted on a chariot while on its course of movement in the horizon. All the deities, Apsaras and Gandharvas are believed to follow its movement. The periods of day and night consist of 30 gauri each. The sun causes rainfall due to the process of evaporation. Water is the source of life and is the manifestation of Lord Shiva himself. Lord Brahma assigns lordships to the deities. The sages requested Sutha to describe how Lord Brahma assigned lordships to all the deities and the demons. Sutha replied, the sun was made the lord of all the planets. Soma was made the lord of all the constellations and medicinal herbs. Similarly, Varun was made the lord of water, while Kuber was assigned the lordship of wealth. Lord Vishnu attained the lordship of Adityas, Pavak of Vasis, Daksha of Prajapatis, Indra of deities, and Prahlad attained the lordship of all the demons. Some other prominent species and the assigned lordships are as follows: species Lord animals, Rudras, Rudrani Lalohit, women, obstacles, Uma Gajanan, power of speech, Saraswati, mountains, Himalaya, rivers, Ganga, oceans, Kshasagar, trees, serpents, people, fig, Takshak, Gandharvas, birds, Chitrarathi, Garuda. Prithu was made the lord of earth and Lord Shiva the lord of whole universe. The chariots of Sun, Moon and other planets. The chariot of Surya is believed to have been created by Lord Brahma. It is made up of gold and its wheels have 5 spokes each. The chariot is very huge in size and its expanse covers the area of 9,000 yojan. It is pulled by 7 horses which are of green complexion. The movement of sun results into the occurrence of day and night. The moon's chariot consists of 3 wheels and is pulled by 10 white horses. Each wheel is supported by 100 spokes. The chariots of Mercury, Mars and Jupiter are believed to be pulled by 8 horses each. The chariot of Saturn is believed to be pulled by 10 black horses. The radiance of Surya. The Surya is the source to which all the living beings owe their existence. All the deities derive their effulgence from Surya, who in turn derives its own radiance from Lord Mahadev. Time is determined with the help of Surya's movement. One cannot even imagine the various units of time, like Kshana, Muhurta, day, night, fortnight, month, season, etc. without the existence of Surya. The sun, which illuminates the whole world, is nothing but the medium through which the Almighty Rudra manifests himself. The sun sheds thousands of rays, among which 7 are prominent: Sushumna, Rishikesh, Vishwakarma, Vishwatyacha, Anad, Sarvavasu and Swara. Part 4. Dhruva, the supreme devotee. The sages asked Sutha as to how Dhruva became successful in attaining immortality and supreme status among all the stars. Sutha narrated the following tale. There lived a king named Uttanpad, who had 2 queens, Suniti and Suruchi. The eldest queen Suniti had a son named Dhruva. One day while Dhruva was sitting in his father's lap, Suruchi, his stepmother, contemptuously pulled him from Uttanpad's lap and made her own son sit in his place. Dhruva went to Suniti and complained about his stepmother's behavior. Suniti advised Dhruva that he should seek for the supreme status, which is permanent. Following his mother's advice, Dhruva went to the forest in search of that supreme status. In the forest, he met sage Vishwamitra, who advised him to seek the blessings of Lord Keshav by chanting the sacred mantra Om Namo Vasudevai. Dhruva did an austere penance for thousands of years. At last, Lord Vishnu became pleased and appeared before him mounted on Garuda. Vishnu touched Dhruva's face with his conch, as a result of which he attained self-knowledge. Vishnu blessed Dhruva by saying, I give you the supreme place, which even the deities and the sages long for. This way Dhruva attained a supreme status among all the stars with the blessings of Vishnu. The origin of deities. On being inquired by the sages about the origin of deities, demons and other celestial entities, Sutha said, Daksha, being desirous of enhancing the population, created 10,000 sons merely by his wish and instructed them to contribute in the propagation of population. His objective remained unfulfilled as Narada was successful in preaching them towards the path of devotion. As a result, all of them went to do meditation after renouncing the world. Seeing his efforts go in vain, Daksha created 10,000 more sons who were convinced by Narada to the path of renunciation once again. Daksha then begot 60 daughters from his wife named Varini. When these girls grew up, Daksha married to different sages. 10 of them were married to Dharma, 13 to Kashyapa, 27 to Soma, 4 to Arishthanemi, 2 to Bhrigu's son, 2 to Krishashva, and the remaining 2 were married to Angira. The names of Dharma's wives were Marutiveti, Vasu, Ayama, Lamba, Bhanu, Arundhati, Sankalpa, Muhurta, Sadhya and Vishwabhamini. Vishwabhamini was the mother of Vishwadeva, while Sadhya gave birth to Sadhva. Similarly, Marutwati, Bhanu, Muhurta, Lamba and Sankalpa gave birth to Varutavan, Banav, Mahati Ghosh and Sankalpa respectively. Vasu became the mother of 8 Vasis. Among the 27 wives of Kashyapa, the names of some prominent ones were Aditi, Diti, Arishta, Sursa, Muni, Surbhi, Vinta, Tamara, Krodha, Vasha, Ila, Kadru, Tavishad, Anga etc. Kashyapa had 2 sons from Diti, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Danu gave birth to 100 sons, among whom Viprachit was very prominent. Tamra gave birth to 6 daughters: Shuki, Sweni, Sugrivi, Gridhika, Basi and Shuni. Kashyapa did an austere penance and was blessed with 2 sons, Vatsa and Asit. Vatsa had 2 sons, Nabud and Ramb. Asit married Ekparna and had 1 son from her Brahmanist daughter. Vasishtha was married to Arundhati and had 100 sons from her, among whom Shakti was the eldest. Shakti was married to Adrishanti and Parasha was his son. Dvapayan was the son of Parasha and Shukra was Dvapayan's son. Sage Parasha. The sages asked Sutha how Shakti had been devoured by a demon named Rudhir. Sutiji replied, once, Sage Vasishtha was presiding over a grand yagya being organized by a king named Kalmashpad. Vasishtha had a rivalry with Vishwamitra. On seeing Vasishtha busy in that yagya, Vishwamitra instigated Rudhir, a demon, to kill his sons. Rudhir followed the instructions and devoured Vasishtha's sons, including Shakti. When Vasishtha learned about his son's death, his heart was filled with grief. He desired to give up his life but was prevented from doing so by his daughter-in-law. She informed him about her pregnancy and said, "Very soon you will see your grandson. So, quit the idea of giving up your life." Vasishtha, though still mournful of his son's death, postponed the idea of giving up his life for the time being. One day, while he was engrossed in the thoughts of his departed son, he was amazed to listen the recital of a Vedic hymn. He looked all around but found nobody. Suddenly he heard a heavenly voice that revealed by his grandson, who was still inside the womb of his mother. In course of time, Arundhati gave birth to a son who was named Parasha. One day young Parasha curiously inquired from his mother as to why she did not put on ornaments like other women of her age do. Arundhati kept quiet, but when Parasha kept on insisting, she revealed to him that it was not proper for a mournful woman to adorn herself. She also told him how his father Shakti had been killed by Rudhir, the demon. Parasha consoled Arundhati by saying that he would avenge his father's Lord Shiva. He then made an earthen Shiva Linga and started worshipping it by chanting the scared mantras of Shiva Sukta and Trayambak Sukta. Lord Shiva became pleased by his devotion and blessed him with a divine vision which enabled him to see his dead father. Parasha then commenced a yajna with the purpose of annihilating the demons. All the demons started being tormented by the extreme heat generated by that oblation. Vasishtha prevented by that oblation. Vasishtha prevented Parasha from continuing with that yajna as many innocent demons had suffered. Parasha stopped performing the rituals at his father's request. Sage Pulastya had also been invited in that yajna. He was very pleased by his devotion toward his father and blessed him with the knowledge of all the scriptures. In course of time, Parasha became famous for his treatise Vishnu Purana. The lineage of Aditya. On being inquired by the sages about the respective lineage of Aditya, Sun, and Soma, Moon, Sutha replied sage Kashyapa had a son Aditya, from Aditi. Aditya had 4 wives Sangya, Rajai, Prabha and Chaya. Sangya gave birth to Manu, whereas Ragi was the mother of Yam, Yamuna and Ravat. Prabha gave birth to Prabhat, while Chaya was the mother of 3 children Savarni, Shani, Tapti and Vrishti. Chaya was extremely affectionate towards her stepson Yam. One day Yam kicked her in anger, as a result of which his leg became inflicted with incurable disease. He became cured of his disease only after doing penance for thousands of years at a place called Gokarna. Manu had 9 sons: Ikshvaku, Navad, Drishnu, Sharyati, Narishant, Navad, Arisht, Karush and Prishabna. He also had 3 daughters Ila, Jesht and Varishtha, who coincidentally attained male physique later on in their life. Ila became famous as Sudyumna and had 3 sons Utkal, Gopa and Vinithashva. Harishva was the descendant of Ikshvaku and had a son named Vasumna. Trighanva was Vasumna's son. He had attained the designation of Ganpatya by virtue of accomplishing 1000 Ashwamedha Yaga. Trighanva had a son named Trayarun and the name of his son was Satyavrat. The same Satyavrat became famous as Trishanku, who was the only person to attain to heaven with his mortal body. The most truthful king Harish Chandra was the son of Trishanku. Harish Chandra had a son named Rohit. Sagar belonged to the lineage of Harishchandra. He had 2 wives. Prabha had given birth to 60,000 sons, but Bhanumati had only 1 son named Asmajas. Anshuman was the son on Asmajas. Anshuman's son was Dilip. Sage Bhagirath was the son of Dilip. Some prominent personality who belonged to the lineage of Ikshvaku were Shrut, Navad, Ambarish, Dirgabhu, Dilip, Dirgabhu's son, Raghu, Aja, Dasharath, Rama, Lakshman, Bharatha, Shatrughna, Love and Kush. The famous king Pururava also comes from the same lineage. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. His son was Nahush. Nahush had 6 sons, among whom Yayati was the eldest. Yayati had 2 wives, Devyani and Sharmishta. Yayati ruled over the whole earth. He had conquered the whole earth with the help of divine weapons and chariot which he had received from his father-in-law Shukracharya, Devyani's father. Yayati had 2 sons from Devyani, Yadu and Turvasu. He also had 3 sons from his second wife Sharmishta, whose names were Drashya, Anu and Puru. Yayati appointed his youngest son Puru as his successor because of his total devotion towards his parent. Yadu was made the ruler of southern province. Yadu Dynasty. Yadu had 5 sons, among whom Sahasrajit was the eldest. Shatarjit was the son of Sahasrajit and himself had 3 sons, Haya, Haya and Venu. Dharm was Haya's son. Dharmanetra was the son of Dharm and himself had 2 sons, Kirti and Sanjay. Sanjay's son was Mahishman and Bhadrashrenya was Mahishman's son. Dodam was the son of Bhadrashrenya and Dodam's son was Dhanak. Dhanak had 4 sons, among whom the youngest Kartavirya Arjuna was very mighty. He was killed by Parshuran. Kartavirya Arjuna had many sons, among whom Shursen, Drishta, Krishna and Jayadvaraja were prominent. Jayadvaja had a very mighty son named Taljanga. Taljanga too had many mighty and brave sons like Vitihotra, Vrisha. Vrisha had a son Madhu. Madhu's son was Vrishni. Some other prominent kings of Yadu Dynasty were Pragrajit, Jamad, Shrut, Vidarbh, Subad, Vayu, Kratha, Kaushik, Romapa, Vabru, Sugriti, Kunta, Ranadrishta, Vimarath, Navrat, Dridharath, Karamba, Devratha, Devakshatrak and Madhu. The famous Kaurava dynasty came from the lineage of Madhu. Sri Krishna Ahuka came from the lineage of Yadu. He had 2 sons, Devak and Ugrasen. The eldest son, Devak, had 11 children, 4 sons and 7 daughters. The names of his sons were Devavan, Upadeva, Sudev and Devrakshit. All his 7 daughters, which also included Devaki, were married to Vasudeva. Ahuk's youngest son, Ugrasen, had 9 sons, among Kansa was the eldest. Vasudeva had a son named Balram from Rohini. Devaki, one of his wives, gave birth of Lord Shri Krishna. Vasudeva had exchanged Shri Krishna with the daughter of Yashoda as Shri Krishna's life was under threat from Kansa. When Kansa tried to kill her, she slipped away from her hand and ascended towards the sky. She then thundered, "There is no use killing me. The person who is supposed to kill you has already taken birth." Her prophecy came to be truth, and Kansa was ultimately killed by Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna had 16,108 queens, among whom Rukmini was dearest. He did an austere penance to please Lord Shiva, as the result of which he was blessed with many sons like Charudeshna, Sucharu, Pradyumna, etc. He also had a son named Samp from Jambavati. Lord Krishna left for heavenly abode after enjoying a long life of 120 years. He had destroyed his whole clan before leaving his mortal body. A hunter named Jara, who mistook him to be a deer, killed him. Due to the curse of Ashtavkara, Shri Krishna's wives had been abducted by the dacoits. Lord Brahma blesses the demons. The sages asked Sutha as to how did Maya the demon acquire 3 well-fortified forts from Lord Brahma, and how was Lord Shiva finally successful in destroying them. Sutha replied, after Tarakasura's death his 3 sons, Vidunmali, Kamlaksha and Tarakaksha, did tremendous penance to please Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma appeared, they expressed their desire of attaining immortality. Lord Brahma refused to oblige them. The demons, after consulting each other, demanded 3 invincible forts from him and said, "Only such a person should be able to kill us, who is capable of destroying all the 3 forts with a single shot of an arrow." Lord Brahma blessed them and disappeared. Maya then did an austere penance, and with the help of divine powers attained from it, constructed 3 forts at 3 different places. The fort made of gold was situated in the heaven, while the silver fort was situated in the space. The 3rd fort, which was made of iron, was situated on the earth. The gold fort was given to Tarakaksha, the silver fort to Kamlaksha, and the iron fort was given to Vidunmali. After acquiring these invincible forts, all the demons had become extremely arrogant. They started tormenting the deities. The deities went to Lord Vishnu and requested help. Lord Vishnu created thousands of spirits, Bhutganas, and instructed them to destroy those 3 forts. But the Bhutganas were unsuccessful in their attempt and were charged to death. Lamenting their death, the deities went to Lord Vishnu and sought help once again. Lord Vishnu was aware that the demons derived their power from Lord Shiva. So, he decided to deviate them from the path of Shiva's devotion. He then created an illusionary entity. The illusionary entity went to the place where demons lived and was successful in influencing them by his illusionary tactics. All the demons became so impressed by him that they stopped worshipping Lord Shiva and became his disciples. This resulted into a total degradation of moral values among the demons. Finding the time opportune, Lord Vishnu eulogized Shiva, who appeared and agreed to destroy those three forts. Vishwakarma made a divine chariot for Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma became the charioteer. Mounted on that chariot, Lord Shiva proceeded towards the demon. All the deities followed him. Lord Brahma said, "Right now it is Pusha Yoga and it is very auspicious for launching an attack on the demons' forts." Lord Shiva then released his arrow, which after destroying all the three forts returned to his quiver. The deities became pleased and eulogized Lord Shiva. Appointment of Andak as the Lord of Ganesh. On being asked by the sages how Andak the demon was appointed as the Lord of Ganesh by Lord Shiva, Sutha narrated the following tale to them. The mighty demon, Andak, was Hiranyaksha's son. By the virtue of his austere penance he had received a boon of immortality from Lord Brahma. In course of time he conquered all the three worlds. He started tormenting the deities, and as a result of which they had to take refuge in the causes of Mandarachal mountain. The deities went to Lord Shiva and narrated their woeful tale to him. They also requested him to kill Andak so that they could live in peace. Lord Shiva went to the place where Andak lived accompanied by all the deities. When Andak saw them coming, he attacked menacingly with his various weapons. The deities became scared and started running helter-skelter. Lord Shiva then killed Andak with his trident. He then lifted the corpse with the help of his trident and kept in that position for a very long period. The divine sight of Lord Shiva had liberated Andak from all his sins. Finding himself in a helpless position, Andak eulogized Shiva and begged for forgiveness. At last, Lord Shiva became pleased and brought Andak down after lowering his trident. He gave him the designation of a Ganpati and made him the lord of his Ganesh. The liberation of earth. The sages were curious to know how Lord Vishnu in his incarnation of Vara, Boar, had liberated the earth from the captivity of Hiranyaksha. They also wanted to know why Lord Shiva adorned himself with the horn of that boar. Sutha narrated the following tale. Hiranyakshandak's father was a tyrant. After vanquishing the deities, he had taken the earth to Rasatla. The deities sought the help of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu then took the incarnation of Vara, boar, and killed Hiranyaksha with his sharp horns. He then brought the earth from Rasatla and kept it in its original position. The deities eulogized both Lord Vishnu and Mother Earth. Lord Shiva adorned and himself with the ornament carved out from the horn of that boar. This is the reason why he is also called Danshtari, wild boar. Killing of Jalandhar. The sages requested Sutha to reveal how Lord Shiva had killed the notorious demon Jalandhar. Sutha narrated the following tale. There was a demon named Jalandhar. He had manifested from the ocean. He had acquired divine power by the virtue of his austere penance. Jalandhar had defeated the deities and conquered the heaven. He even defeated Lord Vishnu and boasted, "I have conquered everybody. Now, only Shiva is left to be conquered." Jalandhar went to fight a battle with Lord Shiva accompanied by a huge army. Lord Shiva was aware of the boon, which Lord Brahma had given to Andak and which had made him invincible. Jalandhar derived his power from his wife Vrinda, who was an extremely chaste woman. As per the plans of the deities, Lord Vishnu disguised as Jalandhar and went to breach the modesty of Vrinda. Vrinda could not recognize Lord Vishnu and mistook him to be her husband Jalandhar. Ultimately, Lord Vishnu was successful in his motives. Meanwhile, the battle had commenced between Jalandhar and Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva destroyed the whole army of Jalandhar by the sight of his third eye. Jalandhar became furious and tried to kill Lord Shiva with the Sudarshan Chakra, which he had snatched from Vishnu. But as soon as he lifted the Sudarshan Chakra, his body got cut into two parts. The death of Jalandhar brought immense joy to the deities. The origin of Lord Ganesh. Once, the deities requested Lord Shiva to devise some means so that they no longer had to live under the threat of the demons. The most merciful Lord Pinaki Shiva then took the incarnation of Ganeshwar. He had a human body, but his head resembled like an elephant. He held a trident in his hand. All the deities eulogized Lord Ganesh, the Lord of Wisdom and the remover of all obstacles. Lord Ganesh is the first deity to be worshipped in any ritual, as he is believed to remove all the obstacles. A devotee of Lord Ganesh is free from the fear of failures and achieves success in any endeavor he undertakes. Shiv Tandav. The deities were curious to know the story behind Tandav, the famous dance of Lord Shiva. So, they asked Sutha how it started and what made Shiva to perform Tandav. Sutha replied there lived a demon named Daruk. He had acquired divine powers by the virtue of his austere penance. He started tormenting the deities, sages and all the virtuous people. All the deities went to Lord Shiva and requested him to give protection from the tyranny of Daruk. Lord Shiva then requested Parvati to help the deities. One part of Parvati's consciousness entered into the body of Lord Shiva. But the deities were not aware of this happening. Goddess Parvati then attained her physical form with the help of poison stored in the throat of Lord Shiva. The effect of poison had made her complexion dark. Lord Shiva then brought her out from within his body through his third eye. The deities became frightened after seeing her terrific appearance. She was none other than Goddess Kali. Goddess Kali then killed Daruk with the permission of Parvati. But, even after the death of Daruk, her anger did not subside and the whole world was ablaze due to her anger. Lord Shiva then incarnated as a small child and started crying as if he was hungry. Goddess Kali could not decipher the illusions of Shiva and thought that the child was crying because of hunger. She started feeding the child her breast milk. In the process of sucking milk, Shiva also sucked out her anger. The extreme anger of Kali had resulted into the manifestation of 8 divine entities who became famous as Kshetrapal. After her anger had subsided, Goddess Kali became unconscious. Lord Shiva then performed his famous dance Tandav for the first time to bring Kali back to consciousness. He was accompanied by all the ghosts and spirits in his terrific dance. When Kali regained her consciousness, she found Shiva dancing. She too started dancing, and this is the reason why she is also called Yogini. Part 5. Upamanyu. The sages were curious to know how Lord Shiva had bestowed the designation of Ganpatya and an ocean of milk to Upamanyu. They requested Sutha to shed light on the two incidents. Sutha narrated the following tale. Upamanyu was a brilliant child. There is an interesting story how he became the supreme devotee of Lord Shiva. Once, during his childhood, he had gone to his maternal uncle's place. One day, while he was hungry, he tried to drink some milk. But his cousin did not allow him to drink milk, and after snatching the bowl of milk drank himself. Upamanyu started crying. He went to his mother, who tried to console him by giving a solution of powdered grains. But Upamanyu did not want anything less than milk. His mother said, "You should be satisfied with whatever you get. Perhaps we did not worship Lord Shiva in our past lives. Our hardships are the fallouts of those unpardonable sins. Only a devotee of Shiva is entitled to all kinds of comfort and pleasure." Upamanyu decided then and there to please Shiva by his penance and attain an ocean of milk from him. He went to Himalaya mountain and started doing an austere penance. His penance had resulted into the generation of unbearable heat. The deities became terrified and went to seek the help of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu along with the deities went to Lord Shiva and sought his help. Lord Shiva decided to test the devotion of Upamanyu. He disguised himself as Indra and went to the place where Upamanyu was doing penance. He started abusing Shiva, which made Upamanyu so angry that he tried to kill him. When Upamanyu failed in his attempt to kill Shiva, he tried to kill himself by chanting Agneya mantra. Lord Shiva was very pleased by his total devotion and revealed his identity. He blessed Upamanyu and after accepting him as his son granted the designation of Ganpatya. He also provided oceans of milk and curd to Upamanyu. The greatness of Dwadashakshar mantra. On being asked by the sages about the sacred mantra, the chanting of which enabled a man to attain salvation, Sutha replied, Lord Vishnu gives salvation to those people who endeavor to seek Brahma, the Almighty God. A man whose mind is preoccupied with the thought of Lord Vishnu and nothing else is entitled to attain salvation. Such a man is also blessed by Goddess Lakshmi. Describing about the greatness of Dwadakshar mantra, Sutha said the sacred mantra consists of 12 letters, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This powerful mantra helps a man to achieve proximity with Lord Vishnu. Once there lived a Brahman who used to stammer while talking. All his efforts of making him speak distinctly went in vain as the child continued to lisp. When the Brahman tried to teach his son the Dwadakshar mantra, he incorrectly pronounced Vasudev as Atreva. So the child was given the name Atreva. The Brahman became disgusted and married a second time. He had many sons from his second wife, all of whom were very studious. Atreva's mother used to curse her fate because of his habit of stammering. One day she said, Look, I am no more able to tolerate the humiliation of being a mother of a dull child. Look at your stepbrothers, who have achieved fame and respect on account of their learning. I have decided to give up my life. Atreva became very sad. He started chanting the Dwadashakshar mantra regularly, and as a result a day came when he could pronounce it correctly and without stammering. One day Atreva happened to pass by a place where a yajna was being performed. As soon as he reached that place, the priests found to their surprise that they had become dumb. All the priests became restless, as the rituals were still incomplete. Looking at their pitiable condition, Atreva chanted the Dwadakshar mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The priests regained their power of speech by the virtue of the flawless pronunciation of the mantra. Such is the greatness of Dwadakshar mantra. Later on, Atreva went on to become a renowned scholar. A person who chants this sacred mantra regularly becomes liberated from all his sins and attains to Vishnu Lok. Shadakshar mantra. Describing about the greatness of Shadakshar mantra that consists of 6 letters, Sutha said the sacred mantra Om Namah Shivaya holds a supreme place among all the mantras. During the Megvahan Kalpa of the first Treta Yuga, there lived a Brahman named Gundamukh. He became a licentious person due to the curse of a sage. As a result, he became a man of loose moral conduct. His wife gave birth to a child on the inauspicious day of Amvasya. The astrologers predicted a very bleak future for that newborn child. When the child grew up, he became notorious for his sinful conduct. Dungamuk married his son in a respectable family, but his son, being a man of loose character, developed intimacy with a woman belonging to a low caste. One day, Dungamuk, that son, developed sharp differences with that woman on some matter, and in a fit of rage killed her. When the family members of that woman came to know about her death, they retaliated by killing Dungamuk, his wife, and his daughter-in-law. Since Dungamuk's son was not present in the house at that time, he survived. He avenged the death of his family members by killing the assassins. Now Dungamuk's son had become disillusioned with life. He started wandering aimlessly and reached a hermitage. The sage who lived in that hermitage was a great devotee of Lord Shiva and taught him the rituals of Pashupati Vrata as well as the sacred Sholaksha mantra. Dungamuk's son performed the rituals of Pashupati Vrata for 12 months. All the while he kept on chanting the Shadaksha mantra. As the result of his devotion towards Lord Shiva and by the virtue of chanting Sadaksha mantra, he as well as all his ancestors attained salvation. Lord Pachacuti, the sages were curious to know why Lord Shiva was also known as Pachacuti, Lord of Animals. Sutta retold the same tale which sage Shilauri had once narrated to Sanat Kumar. Once, Sanat Kumar went to the hermitage of sage Shilauri and asked him as to why was Lord Shankar also known as Pachacuti. He also inquired about the reason of man's bondages and how could he be liberated from them. Sage Shilauri replied, all the living beings including Lord Brahma have been referred to animals because of their attachment to worldly desires and ignorance. Lord Shiva, being the lord of them, is also known as Pachacuti. It is none other than Lord Vishnu whose illusionary and divine powers keep them in bondages. It is also only Lord Vishnu who liberates them by bestowing the knowledge of Jnana Yoga. Nobody can attain salvation without the blessings of Lord Shiva. The nothing but the 24 elements, 10 sense organs, 4 type of consciousness, 5 basic elements from which matter is made, and 5 subtle forms of matter. A person who worships Lord Shiva with total devotion becomes liberated because devotion is capable of destroying all types of sins. The majestic Lord Maheshwar is beyond the reach of any kind of bondage. He is totally liberated entity. It is only by his blessings that the nature Prakriti creates intelligence buddhi. Similarly, intelligence creates ego ahankara and subtle forms of matter. Tanmatra creates the greatest of matter by the blessings of Lord Shiva. No word can describe the greatness of Lord Shiva. It is only with the permission of Lord Maheshwar that our sense organs function, the fire burns, and all the living beings fulfill their respective duties. Lord Shiva is the Almighty God, and Goddess Parvati is also called Shiva. He is the Purusha and she is the nature or Prakriti. The matter derives its power from Goddess Gauri. Everything that is capable of creating is nothing but the form of Uma. The whole universe is established in the form of Shiva Linga, and hence everybody must worship Lord Shiva. The Sun Manifestation of Shiva's power. Lord Shiva manifests himself in the form of sun. The sun radiates 12 different types of rays which have specific impacts and influences on the world. The first ray is called Amrit, and the deities derive their power from it. The second ray is called Chandra, and it helps in the preservation of medicinal herbs. The third ray is called Shukla, and it helps in the propagation of religiousness in the world. It also helps the food crops to become ripe. The fourth ray is Harikesh, and all the constellations get their nourishment from it. The fifth ray is called Vishwakarma, and it gives the planet Mercury. The sixth ray is called Sanyadvasu, and it nurtures the planet Mars. The seventh ray is called Avavasu, and it nurtures the planet Jupiter. The eighth ray is called Surat, and it nurtures the planet Saturn. The ninth ray is called Susumna, and it nurtures the moon. Shiva Tattva, the learned and sages call Shiva by many names: Kshetragya, Prakriti Vyakta, Kalatma, etc. The synonyms of Kshetragya and Prakriti are Purusha and Pradhan respectively. The delusionary net of the Prakriti is known as Vyakta, apparent. Kala, time, is the resultant byproduct of Pradhan and Vyakta. Some sages call Hiranyagarbha, Brahma, as the Purusha and Shiva as Pradhan. They consider Hiranyagarbha to be the creator and Purusha to be the enjoyer. Even these sages are of the opinion that Hiranyagarbha, Pradhan, Purusha and enjoyer are the manifestations of Shiva. The greatness of Shiva, the Almighty Shiva manifested in the form of Sthanu, pillar, from his imperceptible form and looked at Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma then commenced his creation and established the norms of Varna Ashrama. He also created Soma, which is required for the performance of Yajna. This world, including all the deities, are the embodiments of Soma. The deities eulogize Lord Shiva by chanting the mantras of Rudrashtadhyaya. Once, Lord Shiva was sitting surrounded by all the deities. On being requested by the deities to shed light on his mysterious self, Lord Shiva said, "I was present before the beginning of time and I will be present forever. Everything originates from me and gets submerged in me ultimately. I am the Lord of Brahma. I am the truth itself. I manifest myself in the forms of Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda and Atharvaveda. I am the light as well as the darkness. I am Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. One who is aware of my omnipresence is the only person who is worthy of being called an enlightened one." This way, after enlightening the deities on his mysterious self, Lord Shiva disappeared. The importance of Guru. A devotee should commence the worship of Lord Shiva only after taking permission from his Guru. Only such a person is worthy of being called a Guru who is virtuous and well versed in the scripture. A disciple should unwaveringly be in the service of his Guru and should try to please him by his devotion, because only he, Guru, is capable of liberating him from the miseries of world. A Guru should try to test the worthiness of his disciple by employing different means for 3 years. Once the Guru has accepted a person as his disciple, he should try to impart all the knowledge to him. He should never discriminate on the basis of caste or creed of a disciple. It is the duty of a Guru to make his disciple destitute of flaws and shortcomings. The rituals of initiation. Before commencing the rituals of initiation, the Guru should purify the place where the rites are supposed to be performed. He should make an avatar and draw an 8-petaled lotus at its center. He should then establish the various embodiments of Shiva like Agor, Pranav, Vamdeva, on each of the 8 petals. The Guru should then purify all the directions by chanting different mantras. He should then meditate on the form of Lord Shiva. After that he should make offerings in the sacrificial fire and purify himself by doing achaman. He should then have panchagvya as prasadam and smear ashes on his body. The Guru should instructed his old disciples to sit towards the south of altar. He should make offerings of ghee into the sacrificial fire for 108 times amidst the chanting of Agor mantra. The new disciple then arrive blindfolded and circumambulate the sacrificial altar for 3 times. While circumambulating, everybody should chant either the mantras of Rudrashtadhyaya or Omkar mantra. The new disciple then smear ashes on their bodies amidst the chanting of Agom mantra. The Guru then sprinkles holy water on the new disciples. In the end, the disciple takes a religious vow. I shall never have food without worshipping Shiva. This way the ritual of initiation comes to an end. Installation of Shiva Linga. Describing about the methods of installing a Shiva Linga, Sutta says a devotee should install a Shiva Linga made of either gold, silver or copper. The Shiva Linga should be installed along with the altar. The altar of the Shiva Linga symbolizes Goddess Uma. Lord Brahma is said to manifest at the base of Shiva Linga, while Lord Vishnu at its center. After the installment of Shiva Linga, it should be worshipped with appropriate rituals. The Shiva Linga should be adorned with clothes and its ablution should be performed. A devotee should chant the Brahma Vigyan mantras for the consecration of Lord Brahma, who is supported to manifest at the base of Shiva Linga. Similarly, for the consecration of Lord Vishnu dwelling at the center of Shiva Linga, Gayatri at the center of Lord Shiva is consecrated by the chanting of any of the following mantras: Om Namah Shivaya, Namo Hasa Shivaya Cha. A devotee should then worship the Shiva Linga and make offerings in the sacrificial fire. Vajreshwari Vidya. The sages requested Sutta to elaborate upon the rituals of Vajravahanika Vidya or Vajreshwari Vidya. Sutta replied, anybody who is desirous of vanquishing his enemy must perform the rituals of Vajreshwari Vidya. The devotee should worship Vajra, a spear, and make offerings in the sacrificial fire holding it, Vajra, in his hand. The following mantra should be chanted while making offerings. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Tat Savita Varenyam Bhagon Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yuna Prachodyat. Om Fat Jahi Hum Fat Chindimindi Jahi Han Han Swaha. In the past, Lord Brahma had taught this secret Vidya to Indra, with the help of which he had killed the ferocious demon Vritrasur. A man can acquire all the types of supernatural powers with the help of Vajreshwari Vidya. Describing about the rituals of Mrityunjay Japa, Sutta said a person who chants Mrityunjay mantra with appropriate rituals becomes free from the fear of death. A devotee is required to make offerings of ghee in the sacrificial fire for 1,00,000 times. Instead of ghee, he can also make offerings of ghee and sesame seeds or dhruv grass, ghee, milk and honey. Different types of yoga. The sages asked Sutta as to how should a devotee meditate on Lord Triambak following the path of yoga. Sutta then retold the tale which Mandishwar had once narrated to Sanat Kumar I. The first type of yoga is called mantra yoga. In this type of yoga, a devotee tries to attain deep state of meditation by chanting mantras. The chanting of mantras helps a man to concentrate his mind. The second type of yoga is known as Sparsh yoga. In this type of yoga, a man acquires perfection in breath control by constantly practicing various exercises like rechak, exhalation, kumbhak, retention, etc. These exercises help to purify the nerves and blood vessels. The third type of yoga is known as Bhav yoga. This is the state in which a person's mind is totally engrossed in the thoughts of Lord Mahadev. This state of mind cannot be attained unless the two former types of yoga have been mastered. The fourth type of yoga is called Abhava yoga. When a man has mastered this particular yoga, his ego is subdued in totality. The fifth type of yoga is called Maha Yoga. It helps a man to understand his real self and get united with the Supreme Almighty. The secret of yoga should be revealed to worthy disciples who are virtuous and religious. This way, Sutta described the divine tales of Linga Purana and blessed the sages. The Linga Purana contains 11,000 shlokas in it. The study of Linga Purana fulfills all the four worldly aspirations of a man: dharma, artha, kam and moksha. It also helps a man to attain salvation. If you enjoyed this audiobook, please like and subscribe to be notified of when new audiobooks are uploaded. Thank you for listening and learning. Shanti.